Welcome to 07. We haven't seen you guys since Vegas, and we have plenty to talk about. Space is full of alphas, and as a real-life alpha myself, I welcome my alpha friends. CCP Mimic, things have been very busy in development. What have you been up to?
Well, we've had a huge expansion to release, and of course that has kept us all very busy, and of course all of you very busy. So we have a bunch to talk about in the show, and of course please let us know what you think about the content that we include in our 07 show by going to react.eveonline.com and letting us know throughout the show what you think.
And of course, go to Twitter, use our hashtag 07show to be included in the show and maybe win some prizes. But before we go on, I had a conversation with CCP Seagull and CCP Quant, our executive producer and our data scientist, to talk about how things are going in space. Let's take a look at that. Like you all know, Ascension recently launched, and to talk about what's been going on in space, I have executive producer CCP Seagull and data scientist CCP Quant. Welcome to the 07.
Thank you.
So we've all been very busy, like our players, and there's been so much going on. I wanted to ask you about this Seagull, because we've had Ascension and the clone states features and all that stuff. We had it in our minds for a long time, and we've been thinking about this. And the last few months have been kind of consumed by driving this into existence. Like, how does it feel to actually have taken the step and seeing it live?
It's super exciting. I mean, it's just, yeah, like you say, we have been just like super focused on actually making this happen. And like I've been saying in some other contexts, there's a lot going on behind the scenes to really rewire everything to this new world. And it's so exciting to see it actually live and to see it working. We have tons of new people, both new and returning. The activity in the game is way up. We're breaking records in terms of, PvP kills and all over the place. All kinds of activity stuff is going really well. And it's just beautiful to see people enjoy the game in a way they haven't been able to do before.
Yeah, I think it's great to see it, like how accepting the community has been of like a wave of new players, and just like joyous, I would say, of getting all these new players to show their world proudly too. It's wonderful. So I mean, have you seen anything surprising about this release? Something that surprised you?
I mean, we're quite surprised by how many have come in and tried EVE Online, really. I mean, we did a soft launch, as we call it. We didn't put our whole marketing engine into announcing this feature, so we're really happy with how many players are coming in and trying EVE for the first time.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So we held off a little bit while we were just like getting through the first week or so.
I mean, we knew that with a big release like this, we had to make sure that it was stable and working, and that if we would see some initial problems, either in gameplay or just with, the kind of logistics of how the new feature worked, we knew we had to address those before we kind of start banging the big drums to bring people to it. And we have still been amazed at how many people have just sort of paid attention and found out that you can now play for free and just really come to do just that.
Yeah. We have some interesting statistics to show to people about how this has been going.
Yeah.
This first one, what can you guys tell us about this? What's happening here?
So the main reason and main drive for us to release a feature like this, to open up EVE and open access, was basically to boost activity and get more players to play EVE. Because we realized that it's really important to keep the sandbox full of people. The more kids in the sandbox, the more fun it is for everyone.
Very true.
So like we have plenty of tools in the sandbox for people to use, but like we want to make sure it's full. And so we can see here, if we look at the PCO numbers for November, you can see how the PCO is before the Ascension launch, which is in green here. And then the launch date itself, which was pretty successful, we'd say. There are some problems with emails and stuff like that, but you can really see how it is post-launch. It's just been really high. And if you actually look at how much alpha accounts come into the picture here, we can look at the next one. Here we have aligned the graph to go from downtime to downtime, basically, and we can see the typical, the regular players there, omegas, and then alphas there on top. So we're going from around 30K to 50K in PCU, which is outstanding.
Makes a lot of difference for ships in space.
Yeah, huge difference, and we're really excited to see how this is going to go now, when we have like big months in front of us in terms of getting even more alphas into the game.
And of course, this perspective only shows who's playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Actually, we're seeing the overall population of alphas actually keeps growing in terms of how many people play at some point every day.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see now over time, as people stick around, even if they don't want to be subscribed, and as people join, new kind of alphas join every month, we'll see this population kind of keep growing.
Absolutely.
And towards some kind of new balance between alphas and omegas, and we're really watching in a really curious way to see where this all ends up. And
looking at the same proportions on daily active users that log into the game in total, then it's 50-50 omegas and alphas. So that's really exciting.
And I'm sure that our experienced players who play every day and watch these graphs, this rhymes perfectly with what they've been experiencing in game, with just more people in local chats and
absolutely.
more ships in space.
Absolutely, and we see activity in the game overall jump. If we look at this graph over here, we can see that since launch, or at least if we look at just since the beginning of October, we can see, at least from launch date, that the unique manufacturers, for example, people, the number of characters doing manufacturing jobs is jumped up by 175%. Jumps in high sec jumped up by 65%, kills up by 45%, and mining up by 7%. So we're looking at all these and way more activity metrics, and we can just see that how it moves the economic wheels of EVE.
It's beautiful.
And of course, the manufacturers has something to do with this data analyzer you build as part of the Inception MPE and so on. So we can really, sometimes we can really correlate this kind of activity to these kind of numbers. But I think it's also, it's not only explained by that, it's an overall increase in activity all over the place.
Yeah, the jumps in high sec and the kills particularly are very impressive numbers. And it's the sort of stuff that keeps EVE fun for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun watching the stories, and we're going to talk about some of them later. It's just it's great to see people come and experience the world for the first time.
I would say that some of my favorite stories are really when people discover a type of gaming community that they didn't think existed. And they're so amazed at how helpful people are and how they're just embraced and received as new players, that there's people who are willing to explain things and people who even give them stuff. Of course, we have tons of these stories now of people who managed to make their name known in one way or another because they got shot at or because they ran into a gate camp or whatever, and then suddenly, they get given, a starting ISK by a bunch of people, and then off they go on some new adventure, and it's really beautiful to see.
Yeah, and I've been very proud of our community seeing the rap that they get from people coming into the game, and they're people are like, oh, this is the nicest community I've been. So
we're
proud of my people.
We see our EVE players are always really proud of their game, and you can see on Reddit you have all these cuteness overload threads from newbies posting about how the huge ship they just saw on the undock, and you have existing players just bragging themselves of all their shiny ships, and newbies wanting to get there and at some day later fly a ship like that. It's awesome to see.
I think it's interesting because, like, I mean, maybe it's something to do with the nature of viewers, just the great people we attract. But it's. I mean, people don't seem to get like annoyed at new players. They're more like, you're new. Let me show you all the things. This is
they
like
embrace them.
Fresh eyes to gaze upon the world.
Exactly.
It's awesome. But there were we did a lot of discussions before this about the alpha features, the feature sets that we decided that should be accessible to alphas, and we did a lot of discussions with the CSM and the community had a lot of discussions whether we needed to tweak those. I mean, have you guys seen anything that we need to jump on, or did we kind of hit it right?
I mean, I would say that we're not seeing anything extreme that we have had to just go like, oh my God, we have to patch this like now. I think we're still obviously watching and paying really close attention, but I think that the decision we made to basically limit multi-boxing with alpha characters has sort of resolved most of the kind of exploit type behaviors that people were worried about ahead of the launch. So we are really now looking for more kind of long-term effects, and also looking for how do the alpha-based doctrines look? And is there something missing for one race, for example, where there's not good access to, say, a support role? Or, questions like this is stuff that is more kind of a slow going, but if we have some smart solutions, we'll probably be looking at rolling those out as soon as we can. But this is really kind of work that's going on in the design team now to just look at these things.
Yeah, exactly. Because we haven't been as pressed to look at these things, because people have always, like, people who have Omegas, or they can train everywhere. And now we got to think of like having a good set of tools for the alphas everywhere, and it's ongoing work.
Yeah.
So the future, we've been very focused on Ascension, and which is, we've been very focused on getting this out, and like we haven't been talking a lot about the future. How does the future sort of look for EVE development?
Very exciting.
Yes.
I would say that, we have, of course, been super focused on this, and we have also deliberately kept almost everyone on sort of standby for the rest of this year, pretty much, to just be able to respond to anything that comes out of Ascension. I mean, we know that EVE is an ecosystem, and that we had to be able to respond to anything that has happened. And we are still in that mode quite a lot, because, I mean, it's just been, a week and a half, and or almost two, but, it's still a lot of things can happen, and we're still having some of this standby capacity. But really, in the beginning of next year, we have a CSM summit and so on, and we'll be ready to talk, more about the plans that we have in the pipeline. I mean, we have, continuation plans for a lot of the stuff that you have seen in Ascension. There's more structure plans coming. There's more plans for these new, way smarter NPCs that we have, the mining operations, and we'll of course continue to work on the kind of next steps after the Inception new player experience. We really want to, continue that kind of path, but look more at some career paths for people and so on. And all of this is in kind of, more concrete planning stages now to figure out what exactly are we able to start kind of pushing towards, and we'll be ready kind of soon to involve the community in those discussions. So there's tons of exciting stuff coming up for EVE, and I'm really excited to have, next year in front of us with, such a bigger ecosystem and more people who will actually be able to enjoy all the features that we're going to make.
Yes, yeah. I'm completely on this. This is going to be so much fun. Next year is going to be amazing. Thank you guys for coming on. This has been great. We're going to go and take a look at a ship spotlight made by CCP Lilu, and some pretty explosions after that, and we'll be back.
In this ship spotlight, we're going to take a look at the Astero-class exploration frigate. One of the first vessels that the Sisters of EVE made available to Capsuleers The Asterio was designed and tested by the Sanctuary Corporation, in partnership with a multinational conglomerate of corporations that included AFACO, Cameltech, and Propel Dynamics. Based on the subframes and engineering chassis of the Kalari Condor and the Mimitar probe, the Asterio was designed for long-term deep space covert ops deployment and is geared heavily towards astrometric data gathering and analysis. The Asterio has the ability to fit a covert ops cloaking device and comes with bonuses to core and combat probe strength, as well as relic and data analysis fire strength. This agile little frigate excels as a scout and as an astrometrics platform. 2 turret hardpoints provide the option to fit for basic offensive capability, but usually the Asterio is fit to excel in its intended role, and a more defensive, non-threatening loadout is used, taking advantage of a hull that is well armoured for a frigate-class vessel. Able to field a full flight of 5 light scout drones and hold a total of 15 in its drone bay, the Asterio is an agile and highly effective little ship that complements the rest of the Sisters of Eve lineup vessels perfectly, while adhering to the mantra of explorers and deep space rescue pilots across the cluster. Stay hidden, stay safe, and use every tool at your disposal to get the job done. The hull can be acquired directly from Sisters of Eve or as a blueprint for further manufacturing, which only requires basic materials. However, due to its widespread popularity, it's available in abundance at most market hubs. The Asterio is a little expensive for the rookie explorer, but serves as a vessel that many less experienced scouts aspire to graduate into piloting. That's it for the day's Ship Spotlight. See you in space.
Love those explosions. But I want to give a special shout out to CCP Lilu for putting together the ship spotlight video. She does an amazing job on them. Now we're going to go around the office and hear what some of the developers had to say about things they've been seeing since Ascension and how they feel about things going on in space right now. We'll be back after that.
It's been really amazing seeing how active players are taking advantage of the new features. We've already seen some big fleet fights with the new command bursts. We've seen a lot of players already deploying the first engineering complexes and building the really big ones to get those deployed. We had a lot of activity over the weekend. We actually broke our all-time nullsec PvP kills and wormhole PvP kills records separately this weekend. It was really amazing to see. It's also been great to see how excited players have been to fly with the Rorquals. We've been seeing some amazing screenshots and videos of players with big fleets of Rorquals and supporting lots of smaller ships, mining in nullsec, and all of the amazing groups of players going out and killing the Rorquals as well, especially Bomber's Bar. Really amazing videos there.
I mean, the main thing I've seen happening on TQ is all the awesome ways that our vets are picking up alphas and you know, trying to teach them the game and show them how awesome it is. So stuff like Bjorn B running nullsec fleets full of alphas on his stream, teaching people how to play that way, or kind of at a bigger scale, stuff like pancakes. There's a cool Eve News 24 write-up today about how they're at 250 alphas and counting, and showing them the game and doing all kinds of cool stuff with them. So lots of really awesome examples of veterans picking up all the new people.
I have been working on the NPE, and that release went really well. Over 30,000 people have successfully completed it, half of which are newbies, so that's a big success for us. There's not been so many issues with the NPE itself. Most people are getting through it without getting stuck, but a few people are getting stuck. They're not aware of the Operation Reset feature, but that should pretty much fix most issues that people are getting into. We've noticed some big differences in how the community interacts with newbies. Before release, mostly players were telling newbies not to focus too much on the NPE, not really think about the opportunities. But after the release, the message is clear and loud. Play through the tutorial. The tutorial is good, and that makes us really happy.
For a lot of the other teams in the building, their work is kind of done once the features hit. But for us, that's usually just the beginning. And that has been more true now than it has usually been in the past with Ascension. We have been dealing with a massively increased load. Just to put it into perspective, in the first 3 days after Ascension hit, we got about a month's worth of tickets in the space of 3 days. So we had obviously built the team up to a size that we thought, kind of based on our historical data, would be the correct size based on basically what we thought would happen. But what did happen is that we ran into all these login issues. At this point, we are dealing with up to 5-6 day tickets where we're obviously prioritizing getting people into the game, getting people playing. I mean, those are all game-breaking stuff is what we always prioritize above whatever else. So unfortunately, at this point, if you have any other issue in the queue, we have deprioritized your ticket to some extent, but we are working around the clock to finding ways of dealing with it, dealing with the issues, dealing with the backlog, and trying to get back to our normal level of service. In the recent months before Ascension hit, in the build-up period, we were building up our processes, we were building up our infrastructure, our tools, etc. But in light of the situation that we find ourselves in now, which is kind of more than we thought we would be seeing with this expansion or this change, we've put an added emphasis on that. Our tools team is working very, very hard, late into the evening, pretty much all weekends, on building all kinds of little tools and widgets to help us get to your ticket that much faster, as fast as we possibly can. On top of that, we're pushing our long-suffering GMs pretty hard these days. They're pretty much all of them are working long hours, overtime into the evening. We've even taken such extraordinary steps as enlisting the help of former GMs who are at CCP and trying to get them to do a few tickets for us during the day or even in the evening. And basically, we're pulling out all the stops to try and restore our service level to where it's supposed to be and where our players deserve it to be.
Someday, when I'm more experienced and finally become a bitter old vet, I can only hope that I'm not mean to new bros like I am now.
Welcome to a special market summary from EVE Prosper. I'm your host Lockfox, and we're here to give you the biggest news from EVE Online's latest expansion, Ascension. First, before we begin, I would like to welcome all our new and returning alpha pilots. Do you want to know more about the EVE Online economy? Tune in to our weekly analysis live, Fridays at 0400 on both Twitch and YouTube at EVE Prosper. Starting in Plex, Ascension is popping the fall bubble. Where prices peaked around EVE Vegas, a perfect storm has collected to crash the price of Plex. First, as alphas arrive into the game, we expect Plex to ISK conversion, so pilots can skip straight to the best parts. Second, industrialists converting from POS to the new engineering complexes are spending enormous amounts of cash ISK to refit their operation, squeezing that cash out of Plex reserves. Last, a generous holiday sale on new Plex, though seasonal, is finally bringing the market back down to the 1 billion mark. Ascension has fundamentally changed the equation for Plex going forward. Though we expect an exciting new future with alpha clones, their arrival puts downward pressure on Plex prices in the medium term. These new pilots are driving pent-up demand back into the market, and we expect a lot of that cash to be wrung out of Plex. We expect Plex prices to continue trending downward towards 900 million early in the new year. Turning our view to skill injectors, things are getting interesting amid Plex swings. Though it has been, up until recently, a profitable business, just extracting skill points in so-called zombie farms, Plex volatility ahead of Ascension threatened that business. As Plex drops precipitously thanks to the holiday sales, we are enjoying a brief period of profitability. Unfortunately, we expect this to be temporary. As the cost of base clones and the premium on skill points fall, veteran pilots who could best consume these injectors are locked out thanks to the high penalties. Looking at the markets as a whole, things are starting to look bright. Though this fall has felt anemic on the total market front, Ascension has finally put the market back into high gear. Our base categories of ships and materials are up significantly, thanks directly to Ascension. And though total trade is tracking up, it's not entirely on the backs of RMT items like skill injectors and Plex. This growth in base demand is heartening for any market watcher. We expect a high tide to rise all boats in this case into the new year. Turning our view to the PvP numbers, things are looking equally bright. Fans of the show will know that our outlook on recent PvP stats have been rather dismal. A strong signal of pent-up activity post-Vegas pointed to pilots in holding patterns ahead of Ascension. Even right after launch, the PvP numbers did not immediately spike. But now, with a couple of weeks of activity on the books, things are starting to look particularly good. In fact, traffic has grown even through a traditional lull over the Thanksgiving holidays. Though we would like to see the value destroyed numbers grow a little further, the total number of kills has risen at an astonishing rate thanks to all the new pilots post-Ascension. Last on our tour is Isotopes, which were hit with a 1-2 punch thanks to Ascension. First, as fleet boosting moves into an active role, Isotopes fuel the new consumable charges. Second, thanks to engineering complexes, the demand for fuel blocks has eased. This is particularly bad for nitrogen as industrial POS convert to engineering complexes. Now, with rainbow fuel for new structures, savvy industrialists will convert to the cheapest blocks available. And with that, we're going to wrap up our Prosper Market brief for Ascension. Remember to tune in on Fridays at 0400, that's Thursday night US time, on Twitch and YouTube for our deep dive every week. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Prosper Market Show. You can find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog at eveprosper.com. I have been your host, Lockfox, and this has been your Prosper Market Brief.
There's been a lot going on in the community. You took a look at an initiative called the Alphas Guide. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, the alphasguide.com is a community-run initiative to help all the alphas out there get to grips with what they have available in-game. Mm-hmm. It goes through the aspects of the game that you have available due to the skills that you have, how best to get the most out of your fitting or your ships or making ISK and a whole bunch of things. So definitely check that out if you're new or if you're returning and want to know what's out there and what has changed in the game since you've been away.
It's really well laid out and just amazing, and we love it when the community does something to help other players. Another thing, we love cool creations, like people making beautiful things based on our beautiful game, and more Corin on Twitter. He's been making GIFs that have been getting a lot of attention. Some of you have seen them. They're just like, they're so cool. He takes these things from Eve and he puts them in a different perspective and puts an artistic spin on it. It's kind of like engineering art kind of thing. It's beautiful stuff. So definitely go and follow him on Twitter and see some more of his beautiful work. Thanks for doing it.
And one thing many things that we wanted to bring to your attention, seeing as the last time that we were on screen with all of you was at our second largest player gathering, which was EVE Vegas, and that is all the other player gatherings that are happening out there in the wilderness. Mm-hmm. Right now, at this very moment, although they're probably asleep at the moment, right now is EVE Down Under, and we have a bunch more, and that is Plymouth, Houston, and then later next week there's going to be CCP Antiquarian on the west side of Australia, and that'll be in Fremantle. He's going to be hanging out. He's definitely worth hanging out with because he is just hilarious. And you never quite know which hat he's going to be wearing. But
It's a mystery. It's a mystery. So go check out the player gatherings. We have more and more and more of them popping up everywhere.
they are. I've got just a few more to mention, which are going to be in the beginning of December, but that's, of course, before the next show. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them, and that is Toronto, Birmingham in the UK, not the US, and, of course, Paris. Also in Europe, not in the US.
Yes.
They steal all the names.
Yeah.
But why not?
So one of the cool things that I really love about when we make big expansions, and especially now, since we opened the gates to a lot of new players and a lot of returning players at the same time, we're getting a lot of cool player stories. And stories are what EVE is all about. And EVE is about creating stories and correctly placing yourself in other people's stories. So we've had a lot of cool ones. There was one I remember from Skoomer from Bergman Federation. He almost lost 3 Megatrons, head full of slave sets, to our new NPC mining fleets, trying to gank them and cause some trouble. So logistics, repairs, good piloting by them. He almost lost all 3 Megatrons. So people are having a lot of fun with those.
A very bling rattlesnake got lost a few days ago as well. I believe it was just around the 4 bill mark, which is rather painful. But well done.
Yeah.
I hope it was fun.
Yeah, it was probably worth it. Good fight. Fight. Would have been maybe embarrassing before Ascension, but there's no shame in losing to these NPCs. They're super tough, super fun. We've been seeing a lot of cool threats from new players that are really just jumping into the deep end of the pool and doing crazy things. One of them is Marok, Eve Marok. He is a new player, started out just a few days before Ascension launched, and he's already streaming. He started writing a journal, an amazing blog. You should all go and look it up. He's one of those players that's really jumped in and just locked his teeth into EVE, and he's doing everything. I mean, he was getting into big fights, encounters with capitals and all that in his first few days of EVE. So really cool to see what he can get up to. And he's a good example of what you can do in EVE if you put your mind to it really early. There's also been some funny stories about people that have, still catching on, and like the guy who was in a mission, and then he saw there's a rack. I'm gonna go loot the rack, but turned out it was his own rack, and he was just in a capsule, so he couldn't really loot his own rack.
Oh no!
Lesson learned. So just a few things that you have to learn when you start playing EVE. But we're hearing a lot of cool stories, and they're really great.
We also, on that note, actually wanted to give a shout out to all of you out there who are being a part of the organizations and corporations that are helping welcome and teach and fight and make fun of and enjoy all the new people. So thank you everyone out there for making our community what it is. We are very, very happy that you're with us.
We got a special request from a player called Dark Side of a Dark Clown. And he wanted to, it's a great name. He just wanted to give a shout out to the small organizations and the individuals who help, because we talk a lot about the big organizations that are more famous. He wanted to give a shout out to the individuals that take players under their wing, and the little organizations that help 1 or 2 players at a time and really get them into the game. Take them under their wing. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, all of you.
One thing that we're doing is My EVE Story. It's a new campaign that we are running, a video campaign featuring real EVE players telling real stories of things that have happened to them in the game. Keep an eye out for the hashtag #MyEveStory and watch the rest of the videos. And, we want to hear your stories too. So share your stories on the internet wherever you like to share stories.
And that's it for current affairs and the news, but we'll now go over to the sport.
Hello there, and welcome to the EVE-NT versus CCP exhibition match. Opening for the red side bands is CSM and Nash Cadaver.
And opening for the blue team bands is CCP Fozzy.
Yep, so we're just waiting for the two team captains to make their way through the pick band stage. The first band that Nash Cadaver has made is the Osprey. So he's taken away one of the shield logistics from the pool of ships that CCP can pick from.
Yes, pretty risky banning a logistics on the red team though, because CCP Fozzy will get the first pick of the cruiser, and what he can do is ban the other 2 cruisers available, then pick the 4th one for himself to lock the even T team out of the logistics cruiser.
Yeah, let's see if CCP Fozzy is going to go with that option. He has gone with Scythe, so he could possibly do that option. That's both shield lodges off the table now. So there's either going to be an armor setup if you want to do a kind of traditional tank and tackle kind of setup, otherwise, or Nashkadava's going to have to come up with something clever, I think.
Yeah, we'll see what he bans. He banned the Abaddon, which is the Yamar battleship. CCP Fozzy will be able to ban either the Augur or the Excra if he wants to, and then pick the opposite one, or he might go for another ban. It's obvious that even team might be forced to be going into an armor setup. He might want to ban maybe an Oracle or an APOC or something, since there's already an Abaddon banned. So you can probably ban out another one of the good armor ships.
Yeah, just waiting for CCP Fozzy here to make his decision. He's banned out Augur, so he's obviously been taking notes from watching the show. So he looks like he's ahead of the meta here than Nash. Nash doesn't actually play as much Eve as he might claim to, and he clearly hasn't been paying attention to the meta, because he's gone for an Curses for a first pick, which is very uncommon. He's obviously gone. He's a big fan of Glente's ships though, so that might have been the reason he picked it. It's a fairly solid tackler. It has a decent amount of DPS for a T1 frigate, and a relatively good amount of tank, but it doesn't really excel at any one particular area, so it's not usually a popular pick with the teams.
Yeah, the Tristan, which CCP Fozzy has just chosen, is a lot more popular option for the Glante slot, or the Punisher if you're going to go for a more heavy tackler.
Yeah, one of the reasons the Tristan is popular is because it has a drone bay, which is unusual for a frigate. You can actually load T2 repair bots into that drone bay, so it can act as a support ship, as well as doing some little bit of protected DPS as a support ship as well. So it's quite a good utility ship. CCP Fozzy picking a Tower, so he's kind of going with a mixed tank setup there. The Tower is a shield, it's a kitey long-range light missile ship, so it's an excellent support ship for this format. The next ban coming in pretty rapidly for Nashkadava is the Algos, the pick rather, if it's the Algos Destroyer, and again, is that a normal pick, Stonian?
The Algos is pretty solid. It has a big drone bay, just for the same reason you picked the Tristan. It can go either combat drones, Tech 1, or it can go Tech 2 repair bots inside. And we see the next 2 cruisers picked almost immediately. CCP Fozzy picking up the Excra, by far the most popular logistic cruiser in this format, and Nash going for the Thorax, which is one of the most solid options if you don't have a Logi, because it has a whole tank and it's got a lot of DPS and a lot of mobility.
Yeah, Nashkadava clearly is demonstrating here what his secret play was that he claimed to have before he went into this. He's gone with like an all-Galente blaster kind of rush setup. I'm not sure that's going to fare particularly well against CCP Fozzy's very on-meta armor tank. The Execra is a very popular ship, but so far in Championship it hasn't had a brilliant win rate. It's only roughly about 20 to 30% win rate every time it's been picked, so Nashkadava has a chance here.
CCP Fozzy picking up that Oracle after banning the Brutix. The Oracle is by far the most popular battle cruiser in this format. It's able to do battleship damage to extreme ranges, and as I say that, a lot more picks coming out really quickly. Nash has a plan, it's Blaster Face all in with the Talos and the Megaphone.
Yeah, and also he banned out the Hyperion, which is a great all-round armor ship, and he's obviously wanted to deny CCP Fozzy that, not having picked it himself. So Fozzy is just taking his time here to consider his battleship option, and he's gone for the Armageddon, which, with its newts and its flexible DPS range, is probably a good idea against these Blaster Rush setups. So let's go now into the match and see how these teams get on.
Hello, I'm C20, I'm joined by Bayard J, and we're going to commentate this match for you between the CCP team and the Even T team. For the Even T team in red, you see Apophany in a Megaphron, Nash in a Talos, Rain Chopper in a Thorax, Vitanara in an Algus, and Elenari Roden in the Incursus.
Yeah, and on the CCP team we have CCP Fozzy flying the Armageddon, CCP Pointy Bits flying the Oracle, CCP Larkin flying the Execra, CCP Logibro flying the Talwar, and we have CCP Cognac flying the Tristan.
Yeah, and the red team started at 0. They want to go all in. They're the strategy is very one-dimensional, which is just get up in your face and hit you with hard-hitting glanty blasters. And the blue team for CCP have come in a bit of a range of 50 kilometers, I think.
Yeah, and they're spreading out nicely. There's some good positioning going on here from CCP. As we can see here, CCP pointed bits sniping down Vitor Nara's Algos pretty effectively, and Vitor's almost dead.
Yeah, Vitor Nara going down here. The Oracle's getting good hits on him. The Oracle immediately went off to the side to get max traversal. CCP Fozzie has also positioned himself very well, putting himself in the middle of the team so he can mute out the key targets. He wants to turn off the guns of that Talos and the Thorax so they can't shoot, since neither of them have a cap booster.
Yeah, and the EVNT team looking a little bit disorganised here. They have tried to rush in, but they are a little bit spread out. Elinari's out on the side tackling that Oracle, keeping him away from the fight. That's not such a bad idea. While the rest of the team surround themselves now on CCP Larrick and Zigzekra.
Yeah, we do see now Rain Chopper and Apophany have arrived on the extra, although Rain Chopper just went down. We'll see if Apophany's Megaphron DPS and Gadava's Talos DPS can bring down the extra.
It's not proving effective so far. I believe there's armor logic bots on top of that Execra from the Armageddon and the Tristan, so obviously giving it a decent amount of tank with its local repper as well. Nash's Talos now dropping its 50% armor, while they're really still struggling to get to grips with putting any damage onto this Execra.
Yeah, I didn't see any guns coming out, or we're seeing him fire now, but it seems like CCP Fozzie's done a good job of muting him out, because he keeps periodically having his gun shut off. He's not shooting now. The CCP Fozzie's Armageddon going to work on Nash's Talos.
Yeah, definitely, as he dips into hole now, and as I speak he explodes on camera there. CSM Nash Kadava out of the fight. That leaves Apophany, our championship anchor, more or less on his own. We've got Elinari, though, still alive, chipping away at the Oracle off to the side. But that's a little bit of a irrelevant sideshow at this point. I think the Oracle could probably even still hit the Megathron with the Scorch lasers from there.
Yeah, CCP Cognic there got where it looks like he's just pulling range just to be safe, just to make sure that his team does get that domination victory. So CCP will get the full 4 points for beating the EVNT staff team.
Yeah, it's a little bit embarrassing here. CCP proving that they can actually play the game they make, which is great to see. Apophany here now, about 75% armor. I can see his ship there, like on fire there, and the hull is seriously damaged. It is a hull tank and it has a ton of hit points, so it will take a little bit of time here to car through. But yeah, clean victory here for CCP Fozzie.
Yeah, Apophany is not really going to have enough time to comb his hair before he goes down here.
Certainly. Yeah, we're just going to let the match play out now here. CCP pointed bits in the Oracle there. It looks like he's been let go by Elinari, possibly. He's one of the concept art developers, I believe. Maybe he'll put more spiky bits on this Oracle after this match.
Yeah, the spiky bit on the Incursus is definitely not doing enough spiky bit things.
And Apophany, the FC for EVNT team, does explode in the big ball of fire, and Elinari picks up speed and looks like she's heading straight into the brawl here. Looks like a kind of fairly suicidal approach on CCP's Armageddon. Just realised that the match is over.
Yeah, an honourable sacrifice here. Doesn't want to make the match drawn out too long. And with that, send you back to the studio.
Welcome back, and I'm very pleased to see that we have been able. I'm rather proud of the dev team being able to pull that off. It was, as you can see, was very, very tough match. Yes, well played.
It's hard to take on the creators of the universe. Usually it's not, but
yeah. I just wanted to also let you guys know that the NT Championship has 3 more episodes. That's on the 4th, the 10th, and the 11th of December. And if you are wanting to watch, they still have 3 headsets and 3 super rare skins to give away as viewer prizes. So be sure to check that out on twitch.tv, EVNT TV.
Yes.
So definitely check that out.
It's a really good show. They've put on some amazing matches. They have all the previous matches on YouTube if you want to catch up, and it's a great way to go. It's a very well structured tournament for learning about how to fit your ship, how to fly in EVE, and see how the best pilots do it. So,
and their commentators are fantastic.
Commentators are brilliant.
And one more thing about Eventi, and that is that they are pairing up with Trillionaire to redo their website, and there's a whole bunch of changes that they've made and a whole bunch of new services that they're also offering. And to celebrate all of this, they are throwing an in-game party on the 3rd of December. And they are going to be blowing up 18 carriers and giving away 4,000 fully fitted destroyers, which of course all alphas can fly. And there's going to be a bunch more details on the website, so definitely check that out.
Yes. This is coming to a closing for us this time. The next episode will be our Christmas episode on December the 18th. And I just want to quickly mention a really nice project run by a German player called The Spirit of Giving, where he accepts creative donations, something nice, something, a poem or a picture or something from your heart. In return for Christmas gifts in game. So it's a really cool thing. Go check that out and get in the Christmas spirit. And we'll see you for the Christmas episode. Stay cool and have fun in space. And remember that there's one ship that both alphas and omegas can fly equally, and that is the Friendship.